Hytale's Early Access launch isn't quite ready to step out of Minecraft's shadow, but if you're a block-loving survival fan, you're probably going to have a blast, even if the majority of original content that'll set it apart from Mojang's monumental game is still hiding behind a plethora of work-in-progress signs. But that doesn't mean there aren't plenty of things to keep you occupied if you do decide to invest in the game this early on, as you'll find out later. But first, in case the drama has passed you by, Hytale's Early Access launch this week is something of a miracle. Last summer, after a decade of development, that's 10 years to those who prefer numbers, the ambitious RPG-styled Minecraft-alike was cancelled by League of Legends studio Riot Games, who bought its creator Hypixel some 5 years prior. It looked like there'd be no happy ending for Hytale, but the stars aligned when Hypixel co-founder and owner of the world's coolest name, Simon Collins LaFlamme, reacquired the rights. And now, here we are, less than a week after its hugely successful release, which allegedly saw 3 million players dive in on release day. Hell, even before the game came out, Simon tweeted that the studio had already sold enough copies to fund development of the game for another 2 years. So it's a lovely victory in an industry that's felt a little short of good news in recent times, especially in the light of Anthem's recent shutdown. But with all that development chaos, you could be forgiven if your expectations for Hytale's earliest early access release were pretty low. Simon even attempted to dampen expectations by warning people that the early access version of the game, in its initial guise, wasn't good yet. But it turns out he was perhaps being a little too modest, because this early version of Hytale, while certainly far from complete, is actually rather good, playing like a version of Minecraft that's been modded to improve the graphics and animations and give quality of life upgrades to the more fiddly aspects of building, crafting, survival, and exploration. Whatever Hytale might eventually become as development continues, because of all this, it's hard to describe it as anything other than fantasy Minecraft right now. There are some obvious differentiators, a magic system for instance, and an enjoyably flexible combat system built around varied weapons, attack styles, and slightly more intelligent enemies. But the core experience it currently offers is a very familiar one. This is a game of exploration and survival, of building, resource gathering, and crafting, all in a vast, blocky sandbox world. You can wander off in a direction of your choosing and explore points of interest across procedurally generated maps, although, unlike Minecraft, some of the distinct biomes here are much more hazardous than others. Shout out to the desert area that still has a pile of my good loot in it. You can mine all the way down through the earth in a straight line until you reach an impenetrable bottom, and you can build extravagant bases in both exploration and creative mode. Basically, if you've even a modicum of Minecraft experience under your belt, you'll feel immediately, instinctively comfortable here. Although daytime is much more dangerous in Hytale than it is in Minecraft, it seems, meaning you're really going to need to spend time mining and crafting for the best gear if you don't want to get ganked in the back by a skeleton archer when you least expect it. Oh, and a big shout out to the fact that smashing a tree trunk with your axe now causes the whole thing to fall down. Remember when I said quality of life improvements? This is absolutely one of the best ones. But honestly, all this familiarity is fine. It's a tried and tested and massively popular formula, and already Hytale pulls it off extremely well. And while any major differentiating flourishes might still be some way off, what's here, crucially, is engaging and remarkably polished, all centred around some impressively robust tools. And if the success of a sandbox game is defined by the possibilities it affords, Hytale already feels well on the right path. Even its character creator is surprisingly involved, with enough options to keep those who love customising the look of their avatars occupied for at least an hour. Then there's cooking and smelting and smithery, weapon crafting, furniture building, farming and animal husbandry, with progression through each nudging you further afield. And the worlds Hytale is currently capable of generating show plenty of promise too. There's that deadly desert, and there's plenty of rich green meadows. There's autumnal forests and sweeping coastlines. You can spelunk to peculiar depths where lava seeps and explore dense forests full of wildlife, both friendly and dangerous. Scattered throughout, giving the world a welcome bit of extra texture, are ancient ruins, dilapidated mansions, crumbling farmhouses, mysterious temples, and treehouse villages full of super cute inhabitants that you can totally murder Anakin Skywalker style in order to claim said village for yourself. Don't ask me how I know this, I just do. And there's much, much more. Not all of it's particularly interesting after the initial thrill of discovery, mind, but it feels cohesive and coherent, nailing a certain whimsical fantasy appeal. And as day turns to night and back again as the fog rolls in and storm clouds erupt, the world also manages a pleasing sense of dynamism, helped along by a pleasantly relaxing environmental soundscape, some chill music, and a decent menagerie of critters and foes. There are skeleton warriors, archers, and even mages in the desert. There are giant spiders, bears, golem-like guards, giant flying bugs that poison you, and, at night, even tentacled monstrosities that roam the darkness. There are frogs, startled fawns, cute foxes, sheep, chickens, snakes, rats, and many of them are meandering around with little uns too. It's so rich in personality and detail. World-wise, if there are any complaints right now, it's a relatively simple comparative one. The terrain here is all rather samey, managing none of the dramatic landscapes that Minecraft's world generation does so well, and this is despite the variation in colour, flora and fauna in each biome. But there's plenty more planned, of course, including a more structured adventure mode with a proper story and quests, but without those more significant differentiators, it may be a while before Hytale can properly escape Minecraft's shadow. Even so, the early access release feels like a splendid start, a flexible, well-featured and already enjoyable foundation with plenty of polish and attention to detail. And beyond what Hypixel is currently cooking up itself, the studio is offering substantial support for modding and other creative avenues, as it looks to foster the sort of community that served Minecraft so well. So yeah, less than a week in, and Hytale is showing lots of promise and a glimpse at a very bright future for the once seemingly doomed game. Thank you so much for checking out this first impressions piece on Hytale. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like and subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games. Goodbye, Tale.